This is Dr. Moriel McDuffy here with Politics as usual at usualpolitics.com. I'm coming to you today because we're a week out from the election, and I just wanted to just talk to everybody out there, right? So this is interesting. President Trump waived all of the civil service workers' rights. Essentially, what he did was he had an order that makes it easier for them to be fired, right? And this is a theme. Make no mistake about it. Workers' rights are in jeopardy. In jeopardy. He's already made it so workers can't take their grievances with their employers to court. They have to go through the NLRB. So I want to be clear about this. Traditionally, Republicans have attacked unions since Reagan, and they've tried their goal is to try to weaken unions. So this is the thing I don't understand is you have a lot of people who are union, who are working class to middle class white voters working union jobs, and they love Trump. Well, Trump doesn't love you back because he's going to strip your jobs of your unions of their power, and that seems to be his goal. If he gets another 4 years, it looks like unions will be in big trouble. And you don't have to take my word on it, but we'll just see what happens. So the other thing that we've been seeing a week out is a lot of voter suppression. So in a lot of cities where the big time voter suppression is taking place is in black neighborhoods where people are waiting upwards of 8 to 9 hours. And, we obviously know what the goal is. The goal is to discourage people from voting. They're in this line all day. They need to bring lunch. If you got diabetes, you might, you definitely better bring lunch. People with conditions, they can't stand, they get weak or whatever. Nobody should have to wait that long to vote. And it's because of cutting down on the number of places to vote in certain states. Some states have cut them in half. I mean, we told you what happened. I had another video. I told you what happened with Kentucky, where they cut it was a couple thousand polling places. So this tells you who you're voting for. If you're voting for these Republicans, that's what you're voting for. You're voting for a lot of people who they just want to win at any cost, right? You shouldn't. To me, everybody should vote, right? Everybody's not going to vote. There's more people that don't vote than do vote. That's facts, and you can look it up. But if we're not going to at least allow people the opportunity to vote, so the Wisconsin State Supreme Court came out and said, and with a ruling that essentially ignores the post office shortcomings, right? The post office was pretty much crippled by Trump when he fired the postmaster and assigned a new postmaster, and they closed down certain places. Then they stopped and apologized, but they never opened them back up. So now, with a crippled post office, we know that people who are sending their ballots in, they may not get there in time. So essentially, what Wisconsin Supreme Court said was, if they're not postmarked there, if they're not there by 8 p.m. that day, then no, they don't count. And it's always interesting to me because these are not just debates. We say, oh, they're debates, they're different opinions. No, you're supporting voter suppression. The Wisconsin Supreme Court supported voter suppression. They are discriminating against people, period. That's what they're doing. They're stopping them from voting. So, the thing I don't understand about people is let's not look at these people as the same. They're not the same. The Democrats are severely flawed, but they're not the same as the Republicans. Biden is flawed, but he's not the same as Donald Trump. And we need to look at the things that are going to affect us and affect the big picture. I'll tell you one thing that I heard this week that was very interesting. So Donald Trump likes to say that, and it's a big time joke that he's nobody's done more for black people than him besides Abraham Lincoln, right? So we know that's a joke. And then his son-in-law comes out with a quote, something to the effect of, if we can't want black people to be successful more than black people want to be successful. And basically alluding to black people being lazy. And it's always interesting to hear people say that because there's, when they say that, I'm sure there were black reporters there. Are they lazy? No. you can look this way, but I have a PhD. You don't get a PhD by being lazy. You don't get any type of degree by being lazy. You don't get the jobs by being lazy. The reality is the lazy narrative is really overplayed and it's crap. I've worked with underserved populations and I've watched people go from one job to the next job who don't make enough money at their retail jobs. And they dropped their kid off at the Boys and Girls Club when I was in my 20s. That was a cheap way for them to have babysitting. What do you do? And to have structure. So what people had to realize is, we can vote for these people, especially a Donald Trump who, has all these little fake tricks in his sleeve. And I want to go back. Let me take a step back to where Donald Trump said he did more for black people. So he talks about the black colleges. And here's the thing that he doesn't talk about, right? He had a man or whatever, gave him some money. But here's what he did. Here's what he also did. Remember with the racial bias training and the re-education, right? That he doesn't support. Where we're actually educating people on racism, not just making everything look all pearly and white and beautiful, right? Donald Trump came up with legislature basically saying that if you were doing any of those trainings, about, racial bias and racial injustice, which who does that within their educational system? Black colleges do. Then your funding would be in trouble. So naturally, black colleges, potential funding could be in trouble. I graduated my undergrad from a black college, Delaware State University. I got two sisters that graduated from black colleges. They're undergraduate, Howard University and Norfolk University. I have a lot of friends. Oh, and by the way, we're not lazy. We have degrees. We actually work hard and have jobs and stuff. Yeah, we're not lazy. And the reality is that a white person who got with a high school diploma still makes more money than majority of blacks who have college degrees, regardless of what school they went to. So that's facts. It's discrimination. It's racism. It's all that. And that's really all I got to say on the issue. I just want people to just look at these things, big picture wise. Look at the facts. Stop just saying people are the same. Nothing's going to change. Also look at your local elections. Google your people. Try to learn them. Learn as much about them as you can, because those are the people who are going to determine the local resources and the things that come to your area. It may determine whether you have a community center that thrives and gets extra resources or closes down. It may determine whether your schools have extra resources. So they're very important, very very important. And also those are the people who you'll be more likely to be able to lobby to get resources. So look at your local elections, look up your people. I know that sometimes they go under the radar, but don't let them go under the radar. One reason that they should never go under the radar is, I'm gonna tell you, in my home state, Delaware, there is a QAnon supporter that's running for the Senate down in southern Delaware, and I got to tell you, if you don't pay attention, somebody that can slip through the cracks and get elected. QAnon. So, what I would suggest is that you do your research. Make sure that what they're doing isn't going to screw you over. And if you have a union job, if you want to vote for Trump and cut your own throat, then that's up to you. But Trump does not like unions, and he's been attacking them. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. He's a billionaire, who's run businesses. And in running those businesses, he loves to fire people and get rid of people when he wants to. So by weakening unions, there's less basis to hold you. There's less repercussion if I just fire you just because. Just something to think about. If you haven't thought about it, then you might want to start thinking about it. There's a lot of articles online about how the things that Trump has done and probably will do to dismantle workers' rights. So we're a week away from an election. Just something else to think about. Dr. Moriel McDuffy, politicsasusual.com, signing off.